There's fuzz all over my microphone. Hello, friends. Welcome back to yet another episode. Today's episode features my brother Aaron and our friend Christian. This episode is an interesting one because it was very spontaneous, didn't really have it planned. We were all just hanging out because that's what happens when we all get together and we hang out. We have these kinds of conversations that you're about to listen to, and we figured let's just go down and record and kind of see what happens. So there was really no agenda, so it was very open flowing. We talk about things like higher dimensions, maybe that higher dimensions equal higher states of consciousness. Who knows? Aliens, sacred geometry, because much like you, we're trying to figure this stuff out too. So that's why we love just talking about it, because we believe that every time we talk about it, maybe we get a little bit closer to an answer, because that's what makes this universe so magnificent, is the giant question mark that we all live in. So hope you enjoy. If you have any questions or any suggestions, or you want us to come back and go over any certain topics, please comment below, because that's the thing, as these conversations and these podcasts go on, because it's an open, free-flowing way we have it set up. Sometimes we'll talk about one thing, and then someone will say something, and we make a left or a right turn, and we never come back to the original topic. That's kind of how these conversations go sometimes. So sometimes we'll start to talk about one thing, and we'll really never come back to it. So like I said, if you have any questions or you want to have us come back and talk about another topic that you might have heard and want to learn more about, please let us know. Make sure you head to our website, onwardslife.com, get you a t-shirt, a hoodie, mugs, hats, artworks. We got it all for you. Support the show, support the channel, support the movement, become part of the movement today. All right, that's enough of me rambling. Enjoy the show, and we'll see you on the flippity flip. It's begun.
Here we go.
I hit record 11 minutes ago on the audio.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we could just chop and screw it. That's usually we just let
cool.
it flow, bro. That's how these conversations.
That's the beauty of a podcast.
That's what makes some good conversations. Is just you try not to have any expectations. You just
No resistance.
There we go. Welcome back, my brother,
Hi.
Mr. Aaron,
Hi.
and my other brother, who's not really my brother, Christian here,
Hello.
but he's still my brother.
Great to
What's
be
going
here.
on?
Before we started, we were talking about aliens, and you were like, you know what, Christian, you were like, you know what, I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
Finish your thought.
I was just gonna ask you guys if you think, in your mind, if aliens are more intergalactic or interdimensional, or if you think it's a combination of both, or they have the capabilities of, going through dimensions and traveling throughout.
I would say
space.
all of the above.
There are
Just
three
quickly.
things. Aliens, my mic's going all over the place. Aliens are terrestrial, meaning on the earth, of the earth, maybe in the earth, if you want to go down hollow earth, but we don't have time for that. Or maybe
Yep.
we do.
It's another conversation.
Terrestrial, extraterrestrial, meaning they come from space outside the earth, and then what you were just saying is like this idea of that they're interdimensional. They exist in higher realms. Because when we think of aliens, we think of little green men, gray dudes that are tall,
Yeah.
lanky, and have bald heads, giant black eyes.
Yeah.
But what if aliens are just like forms of energy, like these non-physical?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say what the mainstream kind of viewpoint of what an alien is like super kind of limited and very
Sure.
small. So I would say if there are aliens, then there's so many different races and types that there are ones that are a one consciousness, and then there are the individuals that are on just totally different frequencies.
What do you think, Christian?
I think, like I said, or like you said before, it's probably all the above, a combination that, if you can go throughout galaxies, I would assume if you can go through dimensions, I'd assume you probably can go through galaxies. I mean, that seems like something that,
Absolutely.
it seems it's capable. If they're, the what we think of when we think of aliens, like you said, the tiny green men coming out of the silver
Silver disc plate?
the silver disc coming out of the sky and coming to save us, or
Yeah.
Mars attacks or something like that.
something like
Yeah.
that, where they come and save us, or they come and kill us. It's one or the other,
Hmm.
usually.
And the cool part is that there could be some truth to that.
Right. If infinity is real, then
Exactly.
that it exists.
Yeah, I mean, if you go down the alternate realities and different dimensions, and then all timelines would exist, and anything that you can conceive has already happened. So, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of thinking right there.
Yeah.
Really expand your mind when you think about everything and anything is happening at the exact moment in a different timeline,
Yeah.
if that is correct. The theory of was that?
I can't even comprehend that.
Yeah,
like my brain can't comprehend
that. Is that the theory of relativity, or is that?
No, I think the theory of relativity is that time is relative.
Yeah.
Proposed by Einstein.
Yeah. And if like you can travel interdimensionally, then time and space wouldn't exist. Because then like this, you can just quickly manifest that switch into a whole different reality. And you can even argue that you do it on the everyday, where as if you have this whole new motivation to do something new, or you want to pick up a new habit, you're traveling interdimensionally within yourself to a whole different timeline reality of yourself that you see as you being better. So then you pick apart the parts of yourself that you want to adapt and bring into your three-dimensional timeline now in the reality and implement it in your everyday life.
So it's almost like you're saying your choices are basically how you move through the multiverse. They always say you're always one choice away from a completely different life. So
a choice is like an instant manifestation. Like
in
it's
what
magic.
way? Because I feel like sometimes manifestation takes time. There's like a time buffer.
Yeah. There's different degrees to it, but like a choice where, I mean, just the act of making a choice where it can be as simple as if you're trying to lose weight or something, like the choice of I'm not going to eat this anymore. And that instantaneous choice, now that part of yourself dies and you move into a different timeline of yourself where you have a whole new reality that's coming in.
Right.
And it might take time. It's not going to happen overnight. But time is non-existent.
I love that idea of like you can change into do different, newer, improved, updated versions of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so many people get stuck in I am who I am and this is just how I am because I was like Alan Watts said, I'm like the way I am because my mother dropped me on my head and it's because her mother dropped her on her head. It's like that kind of thought loop. But it is cool to think that you can switch into these air quotes different realities, alternate timelines of your own individual experience by the choices you make.
And
that's crazy.
And the cool thing is that because we are one being, we are one humanity, a collective consciousness, your updated version of yourself is the collective's updated version of itself. So it's almost as if you upgrading and naturally evolving is almost your duty. Because if not, you're doing a disservice to the collective and most importantly yourself.
Yes.
So and it all connects in that beautiful way.
Yeah. Totally, bro. I hope the aliens are real and I hope they show up soon.
I think they will. This is a fucking crazy year, so
Yeah, I mean they're gonna come anytime.
Yeah,
It should be now, right? Or pretty soon.
And everything going on, it's becoming mainstream.
Yeah, totally.
The other day, the Galactic Federation of Light, the Israeli head of defense, space, whatever the fuck.
That guy from Israel.
Yeah, he
space dude
came out and said that shit, and it's circulating the internet like crazy.
Yeah, the Galactic Federation, like you said, it went mainstream, and we just laughed
like that. Yeah,
and besides, like even before all that, like during like when the whole COVID hit and the quarantine started, like the Department of or Pentagon like unreleased videos of UFOs or or objects they had no idea what they were or not from this planet.
Right,
so it's
man.
like it's
right there.
If it's gonna happen,
it's
it should happen. It seems like they're setting it up, if anything, or maybe we're setting up a fake one. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, you never know with what we're being told in the media because.
Yeah, I mean,
like I did air quotes after you said told.
Yeah, love it. Because you never know.
Yeah,
the best is to kind of be able to critically think and pick apart things yourself and be able to.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't watch the news, but like. I'm curious and wonder if like CNN or the Fox, these other news channels are like broadcasting. According to Israeli officials, the Galactic Federation aliens say that humanity's not ready for them. Like, are they even talking about that on the mainstream media channels and sites?
No, they're talking about COVID vaccines.
That's why social media is so dope. It's like the social media is my news.
Yeah,
in a way,
it's memes.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Memes
You can get around the mainstream narrative. You can hear other people's opinions that that aren't on the major platforms. People build their platforms on it.
But that's also the dangerous thing about social media. There's a lot of idiots out there who
the good and bad.
You know,
take
it. The flat earthers
you gotta be
have
aware
the same
of it.
platform.
Yeah, exactly. You just gotta be aware of it. Know what you're looking out for. Know what you're reading.
And that's exactly what I'm saying with being able to critically think and being able to have your own beliefs.
Question your reality.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's about your own free will and your own decipherment. Is that even a word? I don't even know.
Sure, now it is.
Yeah.
Deciphering.
deciphering of what's out there and being able to, feel what's right and trying to use your intuition. Because, you can, and I'm sure, like, a lot of us, when we were even young, we were even always kind of questioning, like, I feel like there's more
bro.
out there. Like,
Always.
you're always like, this can't be it. Like, there has to be more out there. And it's like, we're almost just, every day we're getting closer to figuring it out, like, what we are truly in our past. That's like rediscovering.
I love what you said, because when we are kids, it's almost like we're full of more of a sense of wonder. Like, we're closer to that source, if you will, right? As kids, we're easily impressionable. We want to think the world is magical. And, like, it is.
Yeah.
But as we grow up, we're, like, conditioned to get further and further away from that connection. So
kids are fucking
you slowly
magic.
lose your curiosity about life and the simple things. Like, you wonder, like, when you see a child, like, just playing with, like, sticks, and to them it's the most fun they're ever had. But you're looking at it like,
and that's
like, they're keeping themselves busy, but in reality, it's like deep down you lost your curiosity, and you lost, like, what it meant to be a child, and
exactly
the most innocent form of life. Like, they do no wrong. Like, children don't come out of the womb breeding hate. Like, they don't hate people.
No. And one of the most important things, like, with that is, for me, is the psychedelic experience, and how it kind of, like, reawoken the child within myself, where it made me curious about shit again. And it made me kind of think, like, whoa, this stuff's, like, cool. Like,
maybe aliens are in higher dimensions.
And you kinda, and you look within yourself with this whole new curiosity.
Maybe crystals are alive.
Yeah, dude. And you even just looking at your hands, and you're like, wow, like, I'm really cool. Like, this piece of machinery is pretty fucking complex and
your human
pretty intelligent. Yeah, dude. It's fucking crazy.
There's a quote that always stuck with me. It's the creative adult is the child who survived.
Yeah.
It's, like, really important to have a connection to that inner child and explore your creativity and curiosity and your intuition, because the quality of life is always, I feel like, better, following your intuition and doing what you like to do and what you think is right, following that inner child, because, man.
That's how you flow.
Question your reality. And that's why I love the book, Code of the Extraordinary Mind. That was a book I read, like, 5 years ago, because I never read books in high school and elementary school. And
same here.
12 years of public school, I read, for sure, one book cover to cover, and it was The Kite Runner. That book was great. Real cliffhanger. You just want to keep reading it. It's intense.
Yeah.
But then I read Code of the Extraordinary Mind after I graduated high school by Vishen Lakhiani. And his whole thing, he starts the whole book off where it's like, you need to understand that we as a collective, as individual people, have been conditioned as we grow up to believe certain things to be true about the world and reality and society around us. And, like, he's like, that's bullshit. He's like, you got to question your own reality and figure out what's true to you. He calls them, society has rules. Bullshit rules, he calls them rules. It's important.
I like that a lot.
It's important to question that and be kind of find your own personal sovereignty.
And it's cool that you mentioned that book, because after you read that book, it was at a time where I was really questioning myself, because it was right when I quit football.
Yeah.
And growing up, for those who don't know me, I was super into football, and that's what
was
my
your
whole
life.
life was. Yeah. And
You were good at it.
yeah, I enjoyed it. And once I knew it was time to step away from it, I was really starting to dig deep into myself and figure out, okay, like, obviously football isn't everything. I need to figure out what I am. And Eric recently read this book, and he gave it to me, and I read it, and it totally changed my perspective. And it was a huge turning point in my life. And it's pretty crazy how, just being open to receive new information and being open to just downloading new just intelligence, and the simple thing is just reading a book. It completely changes your perspective, and
absolutely,
it was
dude.
beautiful. And then also around that time period, I had my first psychedelic experience. And it was just a very transcendental and monumental time. Yeah, but it was also kind of scary, because being in high school in that whole matrix of bullshit, and being that athlete, blah blah blah, with that the bros and that whole friend group, and then having these psychedelic experiences, and then having these weird hippie thoughts, you kind of start to feel like you're alone in this game, and you look at your friends and you're like, they have no idea like, what I'm thinking. But then bit by bit, I rubbed off on them, and it was really fun to see. It was really fun to see people kind of
free their minds.
free their minds and grow into that new perspective and that openness. Such as Christian,
Wake up.
one of my best friends.
That's the term.
Yeah.
They wake up,
Wake up.
essentially.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, there's a lot more going on here than I thought, bro.
Yeah, right.
You start questioning everything.
Yeah.
That's why the gateway process is so cool. Because the gateway process, you guys know what it is. If you're listening, the gateway process is, I have this document. It's a declassified CIA document from 1982 or 84, I believe, of something called the gateway process, which is basically a training system to get to sync up the left and right brain hemispheres, sync up their vibrational frequency.
Yeah.
And the idea is, if you can do that, the term is hemisync.
Yeah.
You can you can almost jump out of space and time. Right? You can like transcend space and time and access these higher places. It's like astral projection or lucid dreaming or similar realms. But to tie it into what we were talking about, it's where was I?
Well, like the way I would
trying to describe the document like took me away from my original thought.
But like with the hemisync and being able to transcend, your body and the time space continuum, it's almost as if like you're activating your light body and kind of stepping out of the limited 3-dimensional clunky suit that we're in and activating a whole different,
connecting with your spirit.
Yeah.
Connecting with your spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gateway process is like direct evidence of like interdimensional, not travel, but like that it's capable, because we read it and like it literally says that like people who meditate for 20 years, like they're capable of reaching this, and they're capable of traveling out throughout these dimensions and leaving their body, sort of say. And
it's just like it's a higher state of consciousness.
It makes you question like, what is what are we doing? Like, why are we working 9 to 5s? Like,
thank you.
Like why are we what society are we if we're not really helping ourselves or helping each other?
Right. Well, you brought me back to my point. The reason I brought up the gateway process is because in the first few paragraphs, you read it, Aaron. It says people will reject this right away because it goes against everything that they believe to hold to be true about their life and their reality. So it's like you will reject this. And then you read it and you're like, hemisync, alternate dimensions, like what the fuck? Holographic universe? Well, every time I read it, I have to put it down because it's like heavy shit, but it's like backed up, and they've been talking about this for 40 plus years. That's the coolest part, is like these are thoughts you have on psychedelics where you're like, dude, maybe there are hard dimensions and maybe you can connect with these other beings and these other places, and energy is real, and you can your energy and you can manifest your reality, and your thoughts create your reality. Like you have these thoughts, and then you read documents like this and you're like, it kind of backs up all those things that you have previously thought about.
Wait, I'm cold. I'm gonna grab a blanket.
Yeah, do it.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, we know that
here.
We know that the government has done research into psychedelics. Like, we know that the government's done a bunch of research into psychedelics.
Yeah.
Bunch of universities, government agencies, intelligence agencies, they've all done researches on it.
Even universities. Harvard LSD studies, who made the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski.
Literally.
They cooked his brain.
They literally created the Unabomber. And his manifesto.
When he was tripping, he started to realize, like, apparently he realized like what the technological future would bring, and it scared the shit out of him with AI and everything. So he decided to save humanity. He was going to bomb every top scientist who was developing technology.
Dude. I mean, you see what happened? You cooked his brain.
Were his intentions 100% terrible?
I get where he's coming from, because technology.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the yin and yang of either technology, being the good and the bad of technology, even the yin and yang of like psychedelics, where we've all had beautiful psychedelic experience, but sometimes in the wrong environment, wrong dosage, wrong mindset, like you have to be in a certain mindset to take them, can really fuck you up and throw you off the deep end, where you turn into Ted Kaczynski, writing manifestos and sending bombs through the mail, hiding out in a cabin. Or you can be someone like one of us who has like an enlightening experience, and then...
Well, it's all about it's all about the intention behind the experience, and it's all about the set and the setting.
Right.
If you're in a fucking lab with some Russian scientists pumping,
LSD
liquid LSD into your arm for 5 hours straight, it's probably not going to be the best time. But if you're doing it in a shamanic way for a healing experience and to go deeper into yourself, absolutely, it's going to be a beautiful time.
I look at it as a tool, a tool in your toolkit that, sometimes if you feel like you wandered off the path a little bit.
Yeah.
You pull that out.
Yeah.
Helps
It's
you
a
get,
good
Fuck yeah,
helps you
dude.
get
it's a
back
good
on.
realign.
that.
It's a good realigner
I
for
love
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Just helps you get back on the path.
Does, man.
Mhm.
Helps you break the patterns. You're able to step outside yourself for a few hours, look at your life, look at your mistakes, look at the good things and your goals
and
in
it
the future.
forces you to look at things that you wouldn't look at if
Yeah.
you were just, you know,
And that's
not
the beautiful thing.
under
It's
the
like
influence of it. But
Yes.
totally encapsulating of the entire experience where it's love. It's all love,
Mm-hmm.
but with that, it's tough love.
yeah, you
Too.
can feel every emotion on the spectrum and
Absolutely.
in 5 minutes on that
Yeah.
on a
Mhm.
in psychedelic experience
Yeah.
because
And that's
your mind
so,
will just everything that's on your mind you'll have to face it.
you have
Yeah.
to. And that's
It's
so
just-
powerful for people, but people don't want to have that experience because they're afraid they're going to freak out.
and it's fear.
You need that. It is fear. It's ego.
fear.
But
It's
that's the thing
fear
about
and ego.
psychedelics.
Well, it's been stigmatized so much.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah. That's why you
Yeah.
need to question your reality and do your own research and explore your own.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's so good that these types of talks are becoming more mainstream.
Yeah, totally.
And more people are being more receptive to it because, you know, people on SSRIs and antidepressants are starting to realize that these pharmaceuticals don't do shit.
They ain't it, bro.
They just cause more problems. And
They're Band-Aids.
they're bad.
We as humans are here to learn and heal.
Exactly.
We're here to learn and heal.
Exactly.
And these chemicals that they give us and all these forms of medication and
Mhm.
medicines, air quotes medicines, they're Band-Aids for
They're
those things
Band-Aids.
that we deal with. Traumas, aches, pains, health issues,
Yeah.
emotional kind of bullshit, depression, anxiety.
Everything.
Psilocybin mushrooms, as more and more time goes on and more studies are like, wow, this stuff actually helps reprogram your brain because of
Mhm.
neurogenesis and those parts of your brain that maybe would cause you to suffer those imbalances, those neurochemical, neurochemistry dysfunctions where you have low
Neurochemical
serotonin.
declines, yeah.
Thank you. That cause anxiety and stress and,
Yeah,
and depression. If you're taking psilocybin and you get neurogenesis, you're rewiring your brain and you're almost like reprogramming those parts of your brain
Yeah. And it's
to
cool.
where that shit is eliminated and
And
you're healed.
And the cool thing is that, like, it's really, it sounds not that simple, but it's as simple as brain chemistry, where it's a few receptors that are just lacking,
Yeah.
or they have too much, whether it be
Yeah.
dopamine, serotonin, whatever it be, GABA.
Other-
And so once you can,
Hmm.
and it's also starting to be proven that through meditation,
Yes.
you can start to rebalance your, like, neurotransmitters and the receptors to heal themselves, because
Or
just
your
naturally that's what they do.
or your breathing.
Exactly.
You've been experiencing that recently.
yeah
Talk about that.
so recently I've been going into the Wim Hof breathing method.
Yeah.
He's mainly known as, like, the Iceman, the dude who, you know, he stays under like ice cold water under the ice for hours on end. Or
It's 2020.
You know,
if y'all don't know who Wim Hof is, come on. Get your shit together.
yeah
But go ahead. We know who Wim Hof is.
yeah. And so he has this breathing technique that he kind of does where it's 30 deep breaths in and out, where it's 30 times, but you try to breathe as deep as you can and you breathe out as deep as you can.
It's almost like
Yeah, it's really deep. And when you're flowing all of this oxygen in your body, your blood is getting so oxygenated that it's revitalizing you, and it almost feels cold, and you start to sweat.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, you start to feel this buzzy feeling, and it's like you feel buzz, like you're getting high.
yeah. Wim says you're alkaline. Your body's alkaline.
Yes, exactly. And it's your body's naturally detoxing.
Yeah.
Because that's what it
Yeah.
does. That's what your body naturally fucking does. You don't need to do any detox, 30-day detox on fucking YouTube.
Juice cleanse. I did
Exact-
that.
You don't have to do that. Your body will naturally do it, but it's good to promote
Sure.
anything. good.
Always. Oh yeah. It's always
And-
good to clean your meat suit out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Change your oil. Change your oil every now
Yeah,
and
yeah,
again.
yeah, for sure. And so after doing this, your body starts to just feel super cold.
Yeah.
Like your blood feels cold, but you start to sweat, and your temperature is raising though. So when your body temperature is raising, it's like when you get a flu and you get a fever. Your body temperature raises to get everything out, to attack any toxins that are in your body, so that you start to
Sure.
sweat it out. So you almost start to
interesting.
almost have like flu symptoms or fever symptoms, because you're naturally just getting this shit out.
Or COVID symptoms.
Oh, but oh my god, this shit's corny as fuck. But
Keep going. Sorry.
I lost my train of thought.
Some spooky.
You start sweating because
Yeah.
Threw it off track.
And I've been experimenting it with the cold showers because when you're naturally doing that with your body and focusing on your breathing, breath it's life. It's pure life force energy. It's your chi energy, your kundalini. When you have that shit flowing, you can get high on your own supply, as Wim says. Get high on your own supply. And like you do have these spikes in serotonin, dopamine, where you do feel better. You feel happy. You feel revitalized, energized.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really crazy how something as simple as just conscious, deep breathing consistently can really just heal so many things. Yeah. Lower your blood pressure,
It's powerful, dude. I definitely don't understand the science behind it fully, but after doing it, it's intense, bro. You feel like you're about to have like an out-of-body experience. You can produce, they say through Kundalini and breath work, you can like produce DMT trip-like experiences just based off like everyday consciousness and breathing techniques. And, Kundalini also, if you're into yoga and psychedelics, you understand that we're energetic beings. You could tap in your own energy field and work with it and feel it. You could feel it when you stretch and do yoga, and you can kind of symbiotically work with the breath and your own energy, and that's where I think maybe you can get the DMT like experience. I would love to get there someday.
And we also, and I was reading this thing today too, we as energy beings, we also emit our own light frequencies and our own photons. And the average person emits 20 photons of light per second. 20 photons per light per second. And they did a study where they did a mass meditation, and those who were meditating and focusing on their breathing and focused on their heart centers and really feeling their heart centers energy, they read that they were emitting 100,000 photons of light per second.
Per person or as a collective?
Per person.
100,000 photons?
Yes. So while
Holy
meditating, you can emit 5,000 times more light from your body than the average human.
Yeah, but like, is that a lot of like, I don't understand how photons work, because that ring light is given, but is that like a billion photons because of how bright it is? Because if we can emit 100,000 photons, how come you can't pick it up with your eyes?
Well, it might be such a high light frequency that we can't even see it. Right. That only when you're tapped into a different state of consciousness and a higher frequency of state of being, then you can see these light frequencies. Yeah. Where like I know for you, for example, when you've been having psychedelic experiences, you can see people's auras. Yeah. You can see their light.
I could also do that in everyday consciousness too. Like now I don't know if it's your aura or it's just maybe the energy emanating off of you or whatever. Yeah. But if I were to look past you long enough and just kind of sit there, I'll start to see a little thing around you, or even everyday objects too. Yeah. Are they auras? Is it the energy of the object? I don't know. Because like that shit fascinates me, because you could definitely see it when it's there.
And it's cool because like once you start to be open to this type of stuff, you subconsciously are more sensitive to it. Yeah. So you start to just automatically start to, be able to pick up these frequencies because you're more open to receiving them.
Yeah, and through use of psychedelics, every time you do them, it's almost like you level up. On the dial of consciousness, you go up, like your dial gets turned up a little bit on the consciousness scale. So maybe you can start to tune into these things. Like people who say they're channelers and people who say they're psychics and they can speak to dead people. I can't do that. Yeah. But I'm sure people who, and I'm not saying it's real, and if it isn't, it's more likely is real in the terms of like if you can get to that state of consciousness where you can tap into these other places that most people can't in everyday consciousness not through the use of psychedelics, but a lot of people have these spiritual awakenings through trauma. Yeah. And people close to them dying, and then all of a sudden they communicate with them, and it's like, whoa, like there's these higher places. So,
well, it's like with psychic mediums and like people like that, like when we incarnate into this life, we all have our own different, life contracts and our own different gifts that we were given to bring into this world. So like, I think with psychics and mediums like that, they're just born with these natural gifts where like when they're kids and they start saying like they hear voices and their parents are like, no, you're crazy.
You're fucking crazy.
Yeah. So like that ain't it, folks. Don't do that if you have kids. And so
seriously,
I think like, like we're all on a different, we all come in with our own, spiritual blueprint and our own soul DNA blueprint. And with that comes our gifts, our experiences,
Our
and
karma.
our karma, and if we have our own awakening or not. And
Yeah.
some people aren't here for that,
Yeah.
you know, and some people are.
At least not this time.
Yeah.
If there's infinite lifetimes and you just get reincarnated, maybe not this lifetime, but next one.
Yeah.
Maybe they will.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's trippy to think about. Like if reincarnation is real and it's just a never-ending cycle, when you die, like if you wake up through the use of psychedelics, I would consider myself someone who is air quotes awake, like Neo escaping the Matrix, if you want to get crazy with it, you know, and you guys are too. Or like you understand like the illusionary aspect of this third dimensional reality.
Yeah.
And it's almost like through that, oh man, it's so crazy. Just like thinking about that maybe that, like people who are ascended masters. This is like some crazy hippie shit for sure. I know some people are listening and like, what the fuck are these guys
and this
talking
is
about?
the beauty of a beauty of a podcast.
But that's okay because we're just talking.
Yeah.
We're just trying to figure this out on our own too.
Try to fact check me.
Yeah.
Bouncing ideas.
I try to fact check myself every day.
But
What
what
if
if if we do reincarnate, maybe what stops it is waking up. Is when you wake up.
Well, I think when
And then you
can
just transcend.
Yeah, if you get your frequency to a certain point, you know, you learn your life's lessons, and you can ascend. And if you do reach that awakening, you can decide if you want to either stay in the higher realms and, you know, kind of work behind the scenes,
Right.
among the light, or you come back and help and be a foot soldier on this fucking crazy earth, which realistically, usually we'll choose to come back because we realize that there is so much suffering on this planet and there is so much help that's needed on this planet.
Yeah.
And us light beings, we're needed. So we're the courageous ones that reincarnated back here. It was a choice. You know, we signed these contracts to come into this realm at this time to help heal this earth.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not. Yeah, that's what happens when I'm fucking stoned. Is like I'll be talking about one thing and I'll like want to make a point, and then you'll say something and like the conversation almost changes, and I'm like, but I want to make that one point, and then it just like doesn't fit.
Yeah, you're just trying to get back there, but it
Right.
just doesn't feel
That's the cool thing about podcasts, though. It's like you become a better communicator through them. This is only the 15th or 16th one, and I've learned so much.
Yeah,
I've learned so much already,
Yeah.
and going back and listening to them, and because that's the cool thing too about having conversations. It's like, oh man, I wish we can go back and talk about that again, and like we can. That's the cool thing. It's like I'm sure we'll go back and listen, and we'll be like, oh, we talked about this one thing. I want to go and expand on that a little bit.
And the other thing, like, too, like we could be talking about something that's happening right now, and then, you know, 5 years from now, go back and look at it and be like, wow, like we were really thinking that, or like, and it's really cool because it's like a form of time travel.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
Yeah, man, it's like we'll exist forever with
it's like
these
a time
videos.
capsule.
Even when we
with
go
these
back,
videos,
we go back and look at ourselves.
Time and space doesn't exist, folks. It's an illusion.
Time's an illusion.
I'm just doing a timestamp real quick. Yeah, man. It's fun to think about this crazy hippy dippy stuff because I want it all to be real. I want Bigfoot to be real. It just makes this life so much more exciting.
Yeah, who wouldn't want Bigfoot to be real?
Right.
Or fucking the Yeti or
whatever. It's fun, dude.
Any of those things. Dragons to be real.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you're not telling me that'd be awesome if dragons were real?
Well, whatever is real for you expands.
How so?
Whatever you focus on and whatever you really like are manifesting on the day-to-day, that's what's real for you. So Bigfoot, for example, if you're a Bigfoot hunter, that person swears to God that Bigfoot is real. And they see glimpses.
They don't
to them, in their reality, Bigfoot's real. That's like the weird thing about realities. Everybody's reality is slightly different,
or
and that's why
completely
nobody's
different.
wrong.
Or like when we were setting up this microphone, like I was just sitting here, you two were helping out. Like you two were complete different reality, and you were 6 inches away from me. I was just sitting, like you guys were doing something totally different from me, and then we come together, and now we're recording. And it's just like
that's awesome.
Our realities have come together to do this, and then I'm gonna go home, and our realities are gonna separate.
It's like the timelines meshing in the net of being.
They're crossing, and then they're cross again, and they'll continue to cross.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that net of being tapestry soon. I'll probably hang it up down here. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah.
Going back to now, I remember what I was saying earlier about incarnating on this planet. If we are all part of the infinite source energy of the universe, and we are gods, and we are all part of the one, and we exist in these higher planes that aren't just physical. Your soul, if you will. If you are infinite and immortal and can manifest things instantly, for infinity, you'd probably get bored of that after a while. You know what? I'm going to go incarnate.
Isn't that one of the Buddhist views where it's like the Godhead acts as he's not?
I'm not familiar with that, but I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Or also the whole idea of Jesus, and if you plug in Jesus and the simulation theory to the Bible, the whole idea of Jesus coming into the simulation as an upgrade. He was the universe.
Yeah.
He was God wanting to come into the upgrade to experience what it would be like to be immortal and to be betrayed and killed and you know what I mean? So that's just like a fun thing to think about too, is if we are these infinite beings, maybe these incarnations as humans on this planet, because we're not humans, we're the universe, we're souls having a human experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the universe experiencing itself through
each individual reality.
Yeah, exactly.
And when like you are this multidimensional being and you're out there, like wherever the fuck, if you want to be that whole being helping Earth ascend, sometimes you got to get your feet a little dirty. You got to go into the trenches. You got to incarnate as a human, baby.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
You got to come into the dirt. You got to feel the earth. You got to come in and be.
You got to go through some shit and learn.
You got to feel the shit, and it's not easy on this planet. It's
Not
rigid.
Yeah.
It is rigid.
But it
A lot
can
of
be
pain.
beautiful.
But
a lot
it's
of pain
beautiful.
and suffering. But
It's-
as much as pain and suffering there is, there's even
A lot
more
of
beauty
beautiful.
and
It's balanced.
And
bro.
love,
that's
you know?
the whole balance. That's
Yeah.
why we do experience those things, so that when we do awaken, we can put our hand out to the people who are still in the trenches, and we
Yes.
can say, "Hey, there's a way out."
Pull them out.
it's like
Give them some mushrooms.
Yeah,
what we were talking about.
Come with me if you want to live.
yeah.
It's like we were talking about the other day, like Pluto's cave, or is that
Yeah,
what it was?
Plato's cave.
Plato's cave allegory.
Plato's cave.
Yeah, that's crazy. I talked about that on my last podcast with Ryan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Dope.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's like
But
an
it's like
awesome,
awakening.
like that's still like represents society today, and that was
Yes.
written or
Yeah.
a draw, like whatever.
If you're listening, go on YouTube and just search up Plato's Cave explained, because it's more visual for me to try to sit here and explain it to you. Like,
yeah, it's
very
a piece
visual,
of art. It's a piece of art.
but
You
it's
gotta
very
kinda see
interesting,
it.
especially to the state of the world today.
Yeah,
And the whole message behind it is
Yeah.
it's pretty much that.
escape your reality and create the new Earth.
It's pretty much that.
That controls an
You
illusion.
grow up in an illusion,
Yeah.
and once you wake up from the illusion, you never go back.
Yeah, you're essentially free.
Yeah.
You essentially escape the matrix.
Yes.
Left the cave.
Which is what I truly believe is happening on a massive scale right now on this fucking planet with this.
bro.
That's why this year's so crazy.
It's
It's like getting all the murkiness out.
Age of Aquarius. That's what it is, bro. That's
Yeah.
apparently that's the winter solstice, the 21st, the portal we're gonna go through energetically. Apparently,
Yep.
it's the dawning of the age of
Jesus' birthday.
Age of Aquarius. Well, was it the 21st or was it the 25th? Because
But
25th,
the
21st.
great conjunction where Saturn and Pluto come together.
Yeah.
Or
Look-
Saturn and
Jupiter. Right?
Jupiter, yeah.
it's gonna look like one big star.
It lasts a few days.
It's like 3 days.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna bleed into,
Yeah.
you know, Christmas Eve.
What if the Anunnaki show back up? Speaking of aliens,
That'd be tight.
you know about the Anunnakis?
I know a little bit. I
Anunnaki?
mean, not much
Yeah.
to, teach the people, but
So,
Yeah.
again, these are just theories, folks. Okay, not saying this shit's real because who knows. There's the idea of evolution. We came from monkeys. There's also the idea that Adam and Eve made all the people. I
Yeah.
subscribe.
Stone
I
Ape
subscribe
theory.
to the former.
Cap.
Stone
Sure,
Ape theory.
Maybe. So yeah, the Stone Ape theory. And then there's one where what if the aliens came, these other beings from another planet, from another universe, from another dimension, somewhere that isn't this Earth,
Yeah.
came here and like procreated with these early human species, early proto-hominids,
Mm-hmm.
right? Neanderthals or whatever.
Yeah.
Because there was many Homo sapiens aren't the only human species, really. There's
Mm-mm.
many. So what if
Like all the
these
primates.
higher beings came and like mated and maybe genetically worked with these primates like,
And
maybe
gave
that-
them the tools
right?
to ascend consciousness.
That's like what that whole movie. One of the whole things that movie Prometheus is about is like the whole. One of the things is like they're trying to figure out. The one lady scientist is like wants to find out where humans came from. Why are we on the Earth? And they find these crazy humanoid beings, and they're this fucking 8 foot tall, white bald guy who's jacked.
Yeah.
Looks like a human, but just like a giant human. So you could see maybe that's where the humans came from.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy to think about, man. And apparently the Anunnaki return every 26,000 years or so. And that's where we're about to be. with this solar or this planetary event that's going to happen on the 1st. It's like what happens
And
every couple thousand
And
years.
it's also like what
Crazy.
people were thinking 2012 was, because time is not linear and the Mayan calendar is not linear to our time. So they were thinking that it was 8 years off, and 2012 was a different portal that we kind of went through as a planet, and that December 21st, 2020 is a big day.
Well, a lot of people don't understand, like, everything in this universe is vibration.
Yeah.
Even this table, everything's vibrating, including light, sound, and even things like numbers, because numbers are just geometry.
Yeah.
And that's how the universe expresses itself.
Yeah.
Right? Do I have any geometry stuff in here? Well, all of that shit. It's
Yeah,
got
yeah,
geometry
yeah,
in it.
yeah.
So
Geometry is everything.
it's literally everything. And you've been actually drawing some of the sacred geometry with a compass, with the flower of life. And I heard Alex Ray talking about that on a podcast yesterday, where he said he just started talking about drawing it.
Yeah.
And that changed like a lot for him, and he kind of recommended it. So now I want to try that now.
It's
now
big.
I think about it.
It kind of opens up like a little portal.
Yeah.
And like you know, you're drawing it and you're coming to see it. You're starting to see it come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And this beautiful, just geometrical pattern that kind of just captivates you.
Yeah.
And then it also helps with meditation when you kind of can visualize these different things as different types of like energy.
I'm going to try
machines.
that.
Yeah.
Like you visualize Metatron's cube.
Yeah.
Or the seed
The
of life.
Merkaba.
Or all these things. Yeah, exactly.
It's just it's a light vehicle.
Yeah.
That's all we are. We're all just a bunch of complex tetrahedrons.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, man, geometry is I wish that's the thing. That's why I would love to start some form of school someday. Some place where people can get educated.
Yeah.
But like in math class, I would have learned and appreciated it so much more, I feel like.
Yeah.
Growing up in middle school, high school, even as like an elementary school kid, teach kids sacred geometry, how that ties into math and how it ties into the universe. And
well, you can tie it with physics, chemistry,
harmonics. Everything comes out of these images.
Yeah,
these mathematically.
Even your music class, you
everything.
Can study sound vibration.
Everything.
And you can bring in healing singing bowls,
Dude. Yeah.
and study how singing bowls affect our nervous system and how it can really, I mean, there's a study where they played frequency with water and proved how water has memory.
Yeah.
And it's a study where they did it in Japan, and they took this water and they were saying really negative frequency words to it, like, I hate you, I'm going to kill you, etc. And then they took another batch of water and they said really high frequency words into it, like, I love you, you're the best, things like that.
They projected either feelings of fear
Yeah.
or feelings of love towards two different groups of water and then froze the water.
Yeah. And when the water came out, they looked at the different ice crystals of the water, and the negative frequency crystals looked like shit, pretty much.
They were
Yeah.
And
scattered
then
all over the place.
Scattered all over the place.
I'll put it
Not
in,
geometric.
I'll put some visual aids in the video.
Yeah. We can tie it in.
Yeah.
And then the other batch of water with the healing frequencies created these beautiful crystalline structures, kind of like really nice snowflakes, almost. And it just goes to show you how water can hold these frequencies. And if we're made of 75% water or more, we hold these frequencies
and
as
the
well.
planet.
And the planet. So, to tie it in with the singing bowls and these healing frequencies with sound, you can activate those healing mechanisms within yourself so easily through the power of just sound vibration.
Yeah. And what's cool about sound vibration and all of that stuff is it's all geometric.
Yeah.
So like you look at the flower of life or these sacred geometric symbols, and I'll throw some up here in the video. And but we don't understand how deep those images actually go in terms of even they in themselves are multidimensional.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you can keep going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And then it's just the void.
Yeah. I love thinking about that shit. If you're listening, go watch on YouTube by Spirit Science. There's two videos. First watch The Flower of Life, and then the Math of God. These videos on sacred geometry. They'll blow your fucking minds. And it talks about how these sacred geometric symbols are connected to the stories in the Bible and how the universe was formed and sound and light. It's fucking amazing. And it also gave me a whole new appreciation for the star tetrahedron, the Star David, the symbol for Judaism in Israel.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, cool, but like you actually go into like the math and the significance of just that symbol itself. It's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Without even a religious
Holy shit.
without
Yeah,
any religious connotation.
Exactly. Take any religion
Take
out
out
of it.
Judaism.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just a cool ass geometrical symbol of light. That's
It is because a third dimensional version of a star tetrahedron, a Jewish star,
Is a
right,
Merkaba.
is a Merkaba, which is it's a third dimensional tetrahedron, and that's what they say your light body is. And if
Yeah.
you can, while in meditation, almost visualize yourself within that shape, almost like you're sitting in like a little spaceship. Like that's how I think about it. Like I'll be in
same.
meditation and I kind of visualize this shape, this third dimensional thing around me. It's part of me, part of my energetic field, my auric field, and then I use that to kind of travel to all these other places.
Yeah, it's like a little portal.
That's what's cool about meditation is you can kind of go within. Like I was listening to Damien Eccles on Duncan Trussell's podcast, but it was actually an episode of the Midnight Gospel, and he was locked. He was in jail, so it was like a podcast within a podcast within a show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he was talking. He was in jail. He went to jail for a crime a murder he did not commit, and he was in jail for decades. And he finally got acquitted. Now he's free, and he dedicates his life to magic. It's the second, I think, episode of the Midnight Gospel.
If you haven't seen the Midnight Gospel, highly recommend it.
Yeah, you got to watch that right now.
Very beautiful.
Stop listening to this and go listen to that. Actually, just kidding. We'll wrap this up soon, and then you go listen to it.
Yeah,
but
recommended.
What Damien Eccles was saying, because in prison is where he woke up, is where he started meditating, where he started studying magic and Buddhism and all these other religions. And he said that his cell was almost like his portal, where he can
control
go.
Tower.
Control tower. Thank you. That's the exact phrase he used, where he can kind of go anywhere in this universe through meditation and visualizing this around him.
He said that even though he was in this box in prison, he was the most free he's ever felt.
His mind was free.
Exactly.
Trap my body, but can't free my mind. I think that's how the rap lyric goes.
Yeah.
Trap my body, can't trap my mind. Yeah. It's powerful stuff. Well, we have a call in 6 minutes, so we should wrap this up. But this is an awesome first podcast, you guys. We've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah.
Love you guys. We've literally, like, you guys have been there since I incepted this idea, and you got to see it grow from its infant stage. So
yeah, for sure,
it's cool, man. This is
awesome
first of many.
First of many.
Yeah.
Can't wait to do it again.
I live here, so
yeah. Thanks. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Make sure you head to your website. Head to our website, not your website. Get some merch, get some pillows, get some hoodies, get some artwork.
My website, your
support the
website,
team.
our website.
Everybody's website.
Onwards.
The Onwards website. Okay,
All right, folks.
Goodbye, everybody.